This video is brought to you by BoardGamePrices.com. Find the best prices for board games at BoardGamePrices.com. Kia ora koutou, and welcome to Everdell in about 3 minutes. Review copy used. After the recap, we'll look at the Pearlbrook expansion as well. It is a game for 1 to 4 players. It has a solo mode. Playing time's around 90 minutes. It's a moderately complex game. The many critters of Everdell Forest are working together to build a community nestled beneath the massive branches of the Evertree. By accumulating twigs and pebbles and a nice supply of berries, you hope to attract the best and brightest of the woodland critters to your new township. Can you build the most wonderful little woodland town in all of Everdell? Or will you be simply a stopover point for the barge toads? You win if you have the most points when all players have finished playing through 4 seasons. Points come from a lot of sources. Just look for the golden circle. Competitive. Everyone is trying to build the best town in Everdell. Card drafting. You can play face-up cards from the meadow. Engine building. Cards work together to create combos. Player turn. You start the game with only 2 workers and a hand of cards. You will need to collect wood, pebbles, amber, and berries in order to play cards. On your turn, you will do one of 2 actions. Play a card or place a worker. When you place a worker, you take the benefits marked in that space. For example, 2 amber. If the space is a closed circle, only 1 worker can occupy it. If it is an open circle, any number of workers can occupy it. There are also 4 special locations that change each game. Only 1 worker can occupy each spot, and the second spot is for 4-player games only. You can play a card from your hand by paying the resources printed on it. Instead of playing cards from your hand, you can also play them from the meadow. And while this card normally costs 2 berries, we already have the farm in play, so we can play it for 0 cost. Just place an occupied sign on the farm to show it has been used. Cards come in different types. Some provide one-off benefits, ongoing production, benefits when you play other cards, worker placement locations that you or others can use, and bonus victory points. You can also place workers to claim event tokens once you have the right number of matching cards in your village. You can also use a worker to claim one of these major events if you meet their requirements. When you run out of actions the first time, reclaim your workers and take the spring worker. Then all production cards produce. Repeat this process in summer, but draw 2 cards from the meadow instead of producing, and then in autumn, you produce again. Also in autumn, you can place workers in these spots and discard cards for victory points. Once autumn is done, your game is over, but keep playing until everyone is finished. Why would you like this game? First of all, this game commands attention when you place it on the table. The tree and its bright colours and vibrant art are absolutely eye-catching. The resource tokens, cards, and everything else in the box are of the finest quality. But beneath the flash is the cold steel of a well-tuned and well-designed game. The timing of worker placements, the cards you select, and the interconnecting engines you can build all create a game with a lot of depth and thinking. And there are so many cards in the game that you won't see the same play patterns emerging each time. The best thing about this game is the meadow. Having publicly playable cards dramatically increases your options and adds tension between players. However, I personally find the major events a bit of an afterthought. They don't add a huge amount to the game aside from something more to think about, and the minor events aren't much better. And on first play, you won't know the distributions of cards in the deck, and some of them are less common than others. This can hamper your decision making if you're looking for certain combos. Like building engines but not cute critters? Try terraforming Mars. And if you do like cute critters but want something a lot more ruthless, try Root. Everdell. The berries are squishy! Squish, squish. Squish, squish. But wait, there's more. I'll quickly run through the Pearlbrook expansion and what's in it. First of all, it adds a sideboard representing the coastline of Everdell. Minor events are removed from the game, which is a good thing in my mind. They are replaced with these overlays, which have new worker placement locations. These locations have very high costs, but allow you to buy unique monuments, and the monuments are worth a lot of victory points. These monuments also cost pearls, which are an ultra rare resource with 2 victory points by themselves. But they can also be used to power a lot of the other new things in Pearlbrook. To get pearls, you need to take actions in the ocean, and for this you will need a frog ambassador. The expansion also adds 4 new meeple sets for players to choose from, of which the Starlings are my favourite. Your froggy ambassador can take this action to discard 2 resources and 2 cards to get 1 pearl. Or if you meet the requirements of one of the other spaces, you can go there, claiming the pearl on the card and flipping it over. You can take the flipped action immediately if you meet its requirements, or the next time you place there. Each of these spots is limited, and each player only has 1 froggy ambassador, so you will only get a maximum of 4 of these actions per game. Pearls not only build monuments, they also interact with many of the new cards in the expansion. At the start of the game, you'll also get dealt 2 adornment cards, which cost pearls for you to place. And finally, there are signs to show if your open locations are available for use or not. If this seems like there's a hell of a lot going on in this expansion, that's true. I'd really only recommend it for people who are quite comfortable with the core game and want to step up in complexity and variety. But a lot of what it does is good. The monuments themselves are very striking, and getting rid of the basic events, which I thought were one of the weak parts of the core game, was a good move. They also give you something to strive for as the game reaches its finale. There's not that many new cards for the main deck, and there's a lot more ways in this game to get more card draw. So we actually found ourselves cycling through the deck faster than you would in a regular game. But I think my favourite part of the expansion is the adornments, because you get them at the start of the game and they have some pretty neat and powerful effects, and you can build a strategy around them. So my final call on Pearlbrook is that it's an excellent expansion, but it is a major overhaul of the game and makes it a lot harder to teach. It's very much one for the fans of the game, but if you are a big fan of Everdell, I absolutely recommend picking it up. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and support us on Patreon.